Hope that you're doing well. Today we're going to be doing another ASMR Overwatch VOD review. Today we have a soldier player. So this will be the first DPS VOD review that we've done on this channel. So thank you, Oyere, for sending this in. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I have a pretty good equal skill set for all three of those classes, so we will, I can give some pretty good advice here. So we're just going to play through this Eichenwald match and try to see if we can find some room for improvement and perhaps some things you can implement in your own gameplay. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into this, and yeah, here we go. Okay, so we have here so far is we've got, we see Oyere there on the right. We've got Mercy, Roadhog, Lucio, McCree, and Sigma. So we're on the attack, and it looks like the other team has Hanzo, Honor, Mercy, Zarya, Echo, and Reinhardt. So, first off, we know we're going to just be thinking about the selection screen, and I think right now, like once you see what they have, you're going to want to just think about what you're running against their team comp. So what we have here is your Echo killed your Roadhog, which is kind of interesting. I think he got antied and some things happened there. So your Mercy is already down a res, so this first attack probably, let's see what happens, but my guess is it doesn't go as planned. Okay, so the Hanzo got a pick, so they've gotten 2 picks so far, and you're down your Zenyatta, which at this point you have no res and no Zenyatta. I would say you're in the voice chat saying let's do some ult building for a second or two here. Okay, so we're doing some of that. Zarya's down, you're down, so your positioning here I have mixed feelings about. You can see you're directly in the line of sight, but you know, with Soldier, the most important thing is you really want to be taking the high ground, and I see here that you're sort of low, and you can see on the angle on the screen there, you don't have a really great shot. They've got a Rhine shield there and a Zarya. And you're not going to get one-shot kills, so you're kind of just spraying. So what I would have done is I would have taken a step back, and I would have thought about my positioning at this moment here, because again, you already know that this fight is done. The Zarya is going to be running back, so you're going to get back before her most likely here, but if it was me, I'd be really thinking about my positioning here. So let's continue. Okay. That Echo on the other team is putting in some work. So, okay, that was a nice shot. Now I can tell you right here, again, you're going into a hallway. I think that's a mistake with Soldier. I think right here I would have, because again, if this was a GM match or something, I think very likely you could have died in this hallway, because the Rhine has got heals. There's some, you can see his Ana is aiming right here. You know, so he has support. He's getting heals, and he could charge in here and kill you very easily with just swinging twice. Okay, so let's continue here. And again, I think being in this hallway, I like that you put some heals down, but we can see no one really needs heals. And you're trapped in a hallway with a Rhine. This Reinhardt here has support from their Ana, the Mercy, who seems to be preoccupied here, but she could easily just quickly get over here. So let's see what happens on this. But I think in a higher level, this positioning would have been bad. I think you could have run a different direction. Again, like just creatively in battle, if you're being drawn in two directions, I don't know if you've had to multitask, but it's way harder when you have to multitask than when you can just focus in one direction. So even if you're not killing them, you're pulling attention, like the Mercy and the Ana there. See, if you had gone left, they would have been distracted, and this Reinhardt here would be probably dead. So that, again, that's something to consider, especially on a Mercy. If you crossfire on them, they often it's quite difficult because the escape is Guardian Angel, and that's one of those things where again, like crossfire is a good chance of taking her out. Okay, so this is a good W moment here. Oof, that was a good W moment to Hanzo there. Get that pick on your Mercy. So let's take a look here. Your ult charge, you can see there. So one other thing to notice here is that you have lost the ult battle. Echo has her ult here at 78%. And the Hanzo's already at 37% and he just ulted, so something to consider here, especially because of the Echo, that she can pretty much take any ult. So I think if you had taken those other angles, it would have gotten you a lot more damage, and probably you'd have your ult by now. Let's keep going. You're looking at the high ground. Hopefully your tanks will W here. A little bit hesitant on the tank front here. Okay, I like that you took those stairs a little bit. Now, again, we can just sort of see here, I mean, okay, actually, no, your positioning was not bad there. I think you could have held back a little bit more, because Soldier is really good in the mid-range, and you were sort of like, you were close enough that you got hit by the Reinhardt and some of these other characters here. If you had been just back a little bit more, and again, I would have considered a flank on the stairwell over here, and that initial run-up. I think, again, with Soldier, it's all about identifying the angles of the shot and where you can grab high ground. Almost to the point of obsession, I would say. Like, there should not be a moment where you're not high ground, if at all possible. That should be like your overarching philosophy, because that gives you the angle to basically achieve victory, because who's going to dislodge you? Especially, you look at their tank setup, they have no Winston or Diva or Ball to really contest you, and you should be able to take out an Echo or a Hanzo with a little help. So looks like you guys did wipe here, so you do have a McCree ult here, and it looks like Beat is coming up in the next fight, so we'll see if that changes anything here. You're looking at the high ground there. Okay. He's overextending a little bit there. So see, now again, you're trying to fit a square peg at a round hole here. Okay, you're finally going left a little bit. I think left tends to be the better direction. You're gonna have that engagement in the middle, but one thing you learn in battle is that a battle is best fought when it's not in your territory. So if you're already close to the point, having the battle there puts them at a higher risk of losing it. So here, again, you could have pushed far left. opened up the field of battle here and drawn fire, especially if you put pressure on this Ana here on the left. I think you could have easily like created space here for these characters and to push in a little bit better, but I have a feeling you're going to take the point here, just my thought. They're 2 down, so that's already like 80% chance of victory. Yeah, so you got this point. That's really good. Now again, what the impact you could have made, I think, rather than kind of just going with your team here, and I think you could have created and opened up space. Poor decision right there. Good shot. Let's take a look at your aim. Now on this next play, I want to take a look at your aim. Right there, I think you overextended a little bit. I think you should have held back, or at the very least, see that stairwell on the right? I might have considered running up that, taking the high ground, because here, again, you have a high ground option. I would take it. Okay. So, I would say that right here, that was better. See, now I like that you can see the moment if we actually just stop here to look at that, because that was kind of a micro version of it, but if you were to take a look at what just happened here, and we can rewind just a second here, but you see you go here. Let's see. You run in. Okay, your team's going there on the right side. Now see how you create this lane? You're putting pressure on this Ana, and watch what happens when you do that. Let's see, because I guarantee she's gonna pull back, your team's gonna push in, and this is the kind of space, you see this Mercy here, this is the kind of space that you can create with Soldier by just outputting really high damage and taking these positions, and you can sprint away like it's nothing. Look at that. Yeah, so we can see immediately their Zarya got caught because you did that. It split off the Zarya because the support had to fall back. You can just see it so clearly here, and look at your team just absolutely crushing the space. It's unfortunate that they're not looking directly behind them here at this Zarya, though. That might have been a smart choice. But as you can see, it created that space. It cut off a player here, and it was all because, and look, Ana did die because you got her down to pretty low health. So that's just an example of, I know it's annoying to take that extra second where you're having to stop and go run around on the high ground, but that kind of positioning wins fights. So, and it looks like your McCree is doing a lot of work here as well. So now, okay, this is downtime. Your Mercy's here. You've got these guys just about a moment's away from being able to push the cart. You have sprint. Now, when you're doing nothing, think about what you could be doing. So, I might, right here would be the time to think about where can I go position myself, and if hopefully my message has been fairly straightforward, but this is the moment you run up the stairs, take this high ground on the bridge. You're going to put a little pressure here on this doorway, on this little platform on the right there. Maybe you go far left. In my opinion, the far left is probably not as good of a choice because you are on even ground and the angle is not as good. But on this bridge puts you in an almost unstoppable position, especially like they just switched to Soldier. So a high ground Soldier versus a low ground Soldier, it's a good chance you're going to win it. I think you're holding back a little too much here. I mean, this now might be a result of the rank here, but preferably this tank would have pushed into that and taken the space. Just to add to that as a tank, it's good to read your teammates, and I think Oyere did that in this situation. But as a tank, you really want to be playing space rather than just like sitting on the point like that. Because imagine they had pushed up, they'd be holding this position here, and it would have been really hard for them to push out of that. So. See, now you're kind of in the front line here, and now imagine you might die here. Well, you did hold it. Imagine if you had been holding that bridge, though, you would have not been in as bad of a position. And again, versus like a GM player, they probably would have gotten that kill on you with the Hanzo. Because I can tell you some Hanzos can definitely get that headshot on you, just like easily like that, especially when they're nanoed. You're in the front line a little too much here. You know, so let's talk about two other things here. Your heals. I wanted to see on these next two plays two things. Let's check your aim and let's check your heals, because I think that should be our next area of focus, because we've gone over positioning, and I think that's pretty straightforward. Just making sure you're taking that extra moment to find the right position. That was good old. I got the beat off a little too late here. You know, and one thing I notice with gold and platinum players is that with Lucio especially, they will wait to ult till one or two people have died. So it's like once they feel like it's totally lost, they will panic ult, and that's when the fight's already over. When in reality, he could have done that at the beginning, and it would have created a really big impact. This looks like you're going to get this point here. All right, nicely done, nicely done. 245. That's a pretty good amount of time. A high chance of victory for sure. So for that first round, I think the most important thing is really, again, the positioning. Just number one, you're grabbing high ground, and you're maybe creating some flanks, creating space, drawing fire, opening the battlefield. Now for this round, like I said, let's focus more on the technical side. Let's look at your shots, helix, rocket usage, and your heals, because again, those abilities are really important. Okay, so what we've got here is Mercy, Roadhog, Brigitte, Soldier, McCree, and Sig on your team. And on their team, which you don't know yet, but they have a McCree, a Moira, Ana, Zarya, Hanzo, and a Reinhardt. Alright, so let's see what happens. Again, in this round, I'm going to really focus on the technical aspects of this here. Okay, so we're shooting into the thick there. Now I want to stop here for a second. Okay, so let's take a look at our ult generation here. We've got 15%. And if you compare that to some of the other characters here on the lower half, even the Genji here looks like he's got a little bit closer to Blade. And again, that may have to do with ult generation to some degree, but I think a little bit more thoughtful shooting may, like, because you were just kind of spraying into the thick of it, which is good sometimes, but I might have just taken an extra second to think, where am I shooting? Who am I shooting at? Like, especially that second point, you know, who are you shooting at? Because if you know who you're shooting at, then you have an objective and it can really help. I wouldn't have done that in the sense that you don't want to be battling a Hanzo with like a line of sight. He can shoot his sonic arrow and see you, so when you peek, he gets a headshot. A good Hanzo will definitely get that shot. Okay, there's your heals. That was a decent time for the heals. I'd be looking at your top right screen to see. Look now, see. You're 3 down. They're gonna get this. 16. Okay, one thing that I've noticed that's pretty decent here is your reloading. A lot of people will reload and prevent themselves from unleashing the full clip. I might focus on when you are unleashing to unload the full clip sometimes. On this play here, I think you could have, it would have been hard to escape, but I would have run for the high ground on there too. Okay, so here, yeah, I would go high ground left here. Okay, that's good. The pressure on that Ana, very nice. I would put my heels down. There you go. It's a little, I'll say it was just a little bit late on the reaction. It wouldn't have mattered, but that's a good time to drop it. Okay. Looks like we're doing a quick Hanzo switch here. Okay. So we're just gonna, I don't want to go too much into Hanzo, just because I want to, we'll focus on your aim here. I mean, this again is another example where, so if you take a step back here, what we can notice is that you're kind of close to the front line. You have a high ground option here. You have a high ground option here. Had you taken that position, you could go on the bridge. That's gonna prevent you from getting killed and give you an extra kill or two probably. So even with Hanzo, same thing. Positioning is very crucial. Not every DPS needs to take high ground. If I'm a Mei, I'm probably not going to go high ground every time. If I'm a Symmetra, I'm not going to do that. A Sombra, I'm probably going to be more in the thick of it. But with Hanzo and range characters and Soldier, I think you're going to really want to take that extra second. Good headshot right there. Okay, that was really nice. Okay. He's gonna blade. I was about to say he's gonna blade that, and I bet you they cap it. Interesting Hanzo ult there. I think he just kind of threw it to the wind. Yeah, that was a mistake. You really have to be smart with those ults like that. He just threw it into the wind, basically wasted it. If he had held it, look where his Zarya is at 75%. He would have Dragon and Grav right there. I would not have used the ult there. Let's go back here and see what you did. It looks to me like a 1v4 with this Reinhardt. So I think this was pretty unnecessary. I think there's a Genji Mercy over here. Okay, so it's it's a 3 and 4. So I still think you have a pretty huge advantage here. I don't think he's gonna run out of this, I think, pretty easily. Let's see. Yeah, I would have held that. I would have really held that. You'll see the Soldier, he could have taken high ground. He lucked out and got you, but I think another Hanzo might have gotten that headshot pretty easily. Okay. Sticking on Hanzo. So time here is pretty even. I think you've got, I mean, it's a close match right now. I think that was a good shot. Good wipe. Okay, I like that delayed shot. That's nice. That's a nice touch. The old generation is a bit slow here. I think you probably would have wanted to have it by now. So I would say with Hanzo, you're going to want to work on that old generation a little bit more, like 10%, 5-10%. That was a good ult. I think you did. With that particular ult, I would have like taken a step back, and I wouldn't have used it with such little space. It was a good angle, but it was like just by the time the dragons hit them, they were already out of it, if that makes sense, because you were right here and they were right there. The dragon was almost through them before it even activated, if that makes sense. Good 2 shots, good headshots though on the Zarya. I'm liking the Hanzo play a little bit better. You're getting better picks. With Soldier, I think the main lesson there was just the focus, choosing a target, actually following through, because you can't one shot with Soldier. So you really want to focus on getting the high ground and choosing targets wisely, because that's how you're making a really big impact, and your ult is gigantic also. You're going to want to make sure you're popping the heals as soon as possible for your team. Okay, that was a big shatter from their Rhine. So he overcharged, but I think they're going to take the space here and take this probably. Okay, let's see here. That was a really big ult from your McCree. Your McCree's gotten some pretty big ults and some pretty big plays. I like the punch. I like that. I wouldn't be battling a Genji. That's a waste of your time, and yeah, you're gonna lose that battle most of the time as Hanzo unless you can get a really good headshot. I think you're still gonna win this, it looks like, actually. And if you had focused on the Rhine maybe and just got hit him a little bit more, you would have got probably at your ult now. Looks like they have about one more push left here. Okay, I like this flank. That's nice. I like that. You have a little bit of height advantage. I might have actually taken the left stairwell, like right up there. I'm left of you. Oof, that was big. That hurts for that Genji right there. I definitely would put a little space between you and the enemy here. That was a huge shot. Really good shot. So the Hanzo play, maybe you want to focus on your Hanzo a little bit more. You have a nice shot. Most importantly, you were getting impactful plays with your Hanzo, and that's... Oof, what just happened there? Let's see. So they've got 4 people coming up, 3 seconds. The Genji comes up to chase you. Oh, oof. Well, what we call that is a C9 in the old book. That is very unfortunate for the opposing team, and it happens. When you're so caught up in that kind of bloodlusting feeling, that's the best description I have for it, but you get emotional. You're like fulfilling your bloodlust. dust. You're not thinking with your head, and that's when you do things like that. When you're thinking with your emotions, you're not thinking about the bigger picture, and that last 30 seconds, sometimes people lose focus a little bit too much. They might use their ult a little too early out of frustration, or they might just kind of give up. In that instance, the Genji just was a Genji. So anyway, it's stepping back. It was a good match. They could have actually, I think, taken that point. So it wasn't a bad match. It was fairly relatively even. I think for me, there's some pretty direct areas of improvement for both range characters, Hanzo and Soldier. Primarily what I would work on is your positioning, taking high ground, and things like that. I'd focus on trying to build your ults at about 5 to 10% more quickly. I would, but most importantly, you're taking high ground with Soldier, and you're working on your positioning, not putting yourself in the direct line of fire like that. That would have prevented deaths, increased output, and it would have helped your team more. So I would say, all in all, if you see your team needs heals, you run in with the heals and you sprint and throw it in. So anyway, all that said, I hope that you have a really great rest of your evening, and thank you so much for sending this in, and hopefully this helped a little bit, and I wish you luck in your climb. All right, have a good one.